Hello and welcome to episode number 45 of No Whining. I hope you are doing absolutely fantastic wherever you might find yourself right now. And we are starting out today with a French wine. So I wore my American flag t-shirt to pay my regard to the French. Okay, let's do this. This is a 2021 Château Chasse-Spleen Blanc de Chasse-Spleen Bordeaux. This is around $45 and it is a blend. It is 50% Semillon, 40% White Sauvignon, which is another name for Sauvignon Blanc, and 10% Muscadelle. Now this wine is hailing from Mouly-en-Médoc within the Haut-Médoc in Bordeaux's left bank. And even though it is from the Mouly-en-Médoc, it cannot have that on the label as that particular appellation is classified as a red wine only region and can only be made, the wines can only be made from 6 specific black grape varieties. Otherwise, it has to be classified, basically declassified and labeled as a generic AOC Bordeaux Blanc instead. Okay, here's some information from the tech sheet. Soil, sandy clay. Acreage, 4 hectares. Plantation density, 10,000 vines per hectare. Now that is a really high density planting. It typically sits anywhere between 1,000 vines per hectare and 10,000. And so this is definitely on that upper end of the scale. All right, grapevine age, 25 years old. Grape harvest dates, 21st and 22nd of September. Vinification, inoxidizable steel vats and new barrels. Maturing of wine, 50% new wood for 9 months. Now I was amazed when I was reading through this tech sheet and even the vintage notes because it was like the most honest, just straightforward one that I've ever seen. There's something in the wine world where there's so many euphemisms used and people, they will spin something that's actually pretty catastrophic into something that is like, but it made the perfect, most perfect grapes ever in the history of mankind. And you're like reading between the lines, you're like, that doesn't really add up. So it's actually refreshing when the people just tell you what happened with the vintage instead of skirting around the issue, as it were. Okay, here's what the tech sheet said. Our job is packed with exhilarating moments, oscillating from genuine stress to utter delight. We knew that there was somehow a way to scale up this excitement and challenge in making white wine on a red land. The soil is so red that not a single white wine belongs to the Médoc appellation. The white wine produced on the peninsula answers to the Bordeaux Blanc appellation contrôlée, and there are barely a dozen white vintages in the Médoc area. Using the yardstick of the 90s, 2 hectares of land were planted with 65% Semillon and 35% Sauvignon Blanc. We did not have this white culture, so we fumbled for a little while on wood volume, on agricultural ways, on obvious questions about maturing, etc. At first, the sole customers of this wine were members of our family, our friends, and the chateau staff. We did not want to put our signature on this vintage yet. Little by little, we've managed to refine our methods and our palate. 1995 saw the first wave of marketing, which led to critical success, as they might say about an independent movie which draws a crowd for a whole week. Then, step by step, our work succeeded in persuading an increasing number of aficionados. Nowadays, Blanc de Chasse-Spleen competes with the best white wines from Bordeaux. Okay, well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen, but let's take the acid test, as it were, and give it a try. This wine is clear. It looks to be a medium lemon color or medium yellow, whichever you prefer. Viscosity on the sides of the glass. I'm vacillating here. I was going to say medium minus, but that might actually be medium. So we'll go with medium for now. Okay, let's send it to the schnoz. Remember the rule, ladies and gentlemen, schnoz before jaws. Don't just start pounding this stuff down your gullet and your yapper. Make sure you give it to the nose first. Here we go. This is clean. It is a youthful wine. Aromas, I'm going to say medium plus in terms of intensity, starting out with lemon for sure. Okay, let's go back in. Also some grapefruit on the citrus side. There's definitely a grassy character to this as well. A little bit of that coming through, presumably from the Sauvignon Blanc. Alrighty, let's go in again. Okay, orange blossom, some honeysuckle, and it definitely has some mineral notes like flint, wet stone, that type of a thing. Alrighty, I think there's a little bit more. All right, got some apricot. a little bit of toasted bread, a little bit of vanilla even, and some musca. I think that is going to round us out. We have done the schnoz. It is time to send it to the jaws. Let's go. Okay, that is dry. I'm gonna say medium plus on the body. In the body, normally you wouldn't have that with just a Sauvignon Blanc, but that's not what this is. This is mostly Semillon, and Semillon has more of a viscous character to it, so that's going to kind of raise the body profile of the wine itself. The alcohol, excuse me, is moderate, and then the acid is definitely sky high on this wine. It's actually kind of a crisp cutting acidity, so it has that round body to it, which is really nice, the round mouthfeel, but the acidity, this is a little bit angular, and that for me is throwing the wine just slightly out of balance, but medium plus intensity flavors on the palate for this for sure. It's got a nice finish on it. I'm going to call it a long finish. So this wine is definitely very good. I just, it can't be in the outstanding category because it's simply like the acid is just, it's overpowering because there's not quite enough in terms of like the fruit side, not enough concentration to balance it out. So I'm going to say this is not suitable for bottle aging. Certainly has enough acid to do it, but again, that the acid is not going to decrease over time and bring the wine into balance, I don't think, and there's not going to be some sort of magical influx of like tertiary aromas and flavors. Maybe it could happen. I just don't see it necessarily going that direction. And I think if you wait a long time with this wine, again, you could age it, but it's not going to make it improve. We want to enjoy the freshness and the primary character from the grapes. And I think the best time to do that is right now. So that is wine number one. Let's go to numero dos. This is a 2019 Peter Franus Red Hills Lake County Mourvèdre. This is coming from America! All right, $45 bottle of wine. Again, this is coming from the Red Hills Lake County AVA within the Clear Lake AVA, which is just north of Napa and Sonoma and just east of Mendocino County and Mendocino AVA. Now, this is a high altitude region and part of the Mayacamas mountain range and takes advantage of a high diurnal range and the exposure to high UV rays that the elevation provides to the area. This leads to deep color pigmentation in the grape skins. It's going to help preserve their all-important acidity levels and promotes intense flavor concentration. This area is known for their red volcanic soils with basalt, quartz, black obsidian that absorbs heat during the day and radiates it back into the vines at night. Here's some information from their terrific tech sheet. It says, Four Family Vineyard is a spectacular property situated at 3,000 feet elevation. Soils are thin in the Red Hills and drain instantly. The elevation places vines well above the hot summer heat trapped in the valleys below and aligns them in the path of cool westerly Pacific breezes. At the same time, there is paradoxically greater solar intensity that has some inexplicable effect on the grapes. Because of the high elevation, the differential between day and nighttime temperatures is dramatic, resulting in intensely flavored grapes. 2019 began with ample winter rainfall, resulting in happy vines. There's an exclamation point in there. So, spring conditions allowed excellent fruit set, producing an abundant crop. You know, that scares me because if Ron Burgundy, right, anything you put on the teleprompter, he will say, okay, that might be true of me. I'm just realizing that now. Summer saw few extremes, with moderate temperatures throughout the growing season. Without extreme weather, we were able to harvest at our leisure. It depends on which country. In some countries, it's at our leisure. If you're in the UK, if you're across the pond, it's at our leisure. What I should have said is, without extreme weather, since we're in America, we were able to harvest at our leisure when grapes were precisely ripe. The 2019 is one of the finest vintages of the decade. Wow. Okay. Fermentation, 10 days, peak temperature, 84 degrees. Maceration, 15 days before pressing. Oak aging, 18 months, 20% new French oak. Alrighty, let's do this. Alrighty, whitey tighty. This is clear. It is a medium ruby color. I'm going to say medium plus. Viscosity on the sides of the glass, and then just a tiny bit of staining of the tears, maybe medium minus on that. Okay, let's send it to the schnoz. This is clean. It is developing, certainly developing wine. Medium plus intensity aromas. I'm going to say starting out with cooked black cherry. Some blackberry jam, a little bit of a cooked plum. Got some rose petal in here, a little bit of basil leaf as well. Coriander, vanilla, a little bit of like roasted hazelnut. Yeah, and you've got that classic gamey, like smoked meat type of an aroma that you get from Mourvèdre. And I guess rounding out with a little bit of a mineral note like graphite. Okay, let's send it to the jaws. That is dry. It's got a full body on it. High on the alcohol front, medium plus, I'm going to say in terms of acid as well as the tannins, but the tannins, they're not astringent, they're not harsh, they're nice and round and kind of chalky. Medium plus intensity flavors of everything that we talked about on the schnoz. It's got a really nice long finish on it with like juicy black fruit, those earth, sort of those gamey flavors. I'm loving the round kind of silky texture with this, and this is an outstanding wine. I love the way this is put together. It's such an amazing expression of Mourvèdre. Like, it's not over the top because it can be a real powerhouse of a wine. And this to me is beautiful because it's really showing us an amazing example of power and restraint. This is suitable for bottle aging in my book. I think over the next 3 to 5 years, it's going to become even more complex in bottle. So that is that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's bring both of our wines in. And we must now pick a winner. Which one did you enjoy the most at home? I am curious. Since I have to pick one right now, I am definitely going to go with the red. This is just a much better wine, probably because it came from America instead of France. Oh, savage burn. Just kidding. I love the French and they make absolutely delightful wine. It's just in this particular case, they were outdone by this Mourvèdre from Lake County AVA in California. This Semillon, Sauvignon Blanc, Muscadel, basically the Bordeaux Blanc, is nice, but again, it's just the slightest bit out of balance, so it didn't quite stack up today, unfortunately, for them. I want to make sure, remind you to check out the videos that I included. You look at the links in the description. You can go right into those because I pull together really good videos. I spend a lot of time trying to find something that's going to encapsulate and really showcase the area that these wines come from and give you a great overview. There's one in there from Bordeaux and then obviously from this Lake County AVA in California. And I think you're going to enjoy both of those a ton. I'm excited to see you back here in the next episode. Until then, take care of yourselves and Godspeed.